Hi guys, and welcome back to Speedy Life Lover. As you can tell by the title, this is part 2 to my chronic illnesses video. If you haven't checked out part 1 will be up before this video, so go and check it out. Part 1 has got my main, if you like, illnesses, but like I said in part 1, they're just split up into 2 parts because of the length of the video. So it's not about which ones affects me. These all affect me on a daily basis or weekly basis. It's just how I've written them down and how I'm recording them. Okay, so the first one I'm going to start off with this video is a bit of a touchy one. People don't like talking about it. People feel that you should just, some people are okay about talking about it, and some people are like, oh no, you shouldn't talk about it, and that is depression. I have suffered with depression on and off since the age of 16, probably even into childhood. I had some form of depression, seeing as I had my first operation at 11 and it failed quite miserably. I was in and out of hospital as a child with various different things, mainly with my leg, with my knock knees and my arthritis. So it kind of had an impact. My mum was also very ill as when I was a child and still is, so that had an impact. But depression is one of those things that I find that some people are okay talking about it and some people are like, no, you shouldn't talk about it. I personally think you should talk about it, because if you don't, that's when you really get into trouble. I have clinical depression, so my depression has been very bad over the years. I am on medication which I take daily for my depression, and I don't feel embarrassed or ashamed about that. I really don't. I am not afraid to say that I suffer with depression, and I have had mental health problems. Not afraid to say that. I think people that have had mental health problems are one of the strongest people, and who've recovered are one of the strongest people walking around, because that is a very, very dark place. So yeah, depression affects me with the pain and things. I find that some days I get very low, my mood gets very low, I feel quite tearful, even though I try very hard to embrace the life that I've got and see the best parts of it and see every day as a good part. And there is good parts in every day, no matter how bad the day's been, but it takes someone of some form of positivity to see that, and sometimes you just don't have that. When you have mental health problems, you just don't see that. So it's, sorry, the cat's just walked on the cushion. It is difficult, it's really hard. So I don't feel ashamed to be taking an antidepressant. I don't feel like that's wrong. I don't feel like, because it's not. And I also go to counselling twice a month. And again, don't feel any shame or embarrassment in going to counselling or speaking to someone about problems that I've had or having. And if you have problems and you feel the need to talk to someone, don't feel ashamed about it. It's helped me so much. I feel like a totally different person sitting here today than I did 2 years ago. Totally different, stronger, more confident, more outgoing. Never would have put my life on the internet and been able to take the bad bits as well as the good. Yeah. You need to do it. If you need to do it, you do it. And like I said before many times, if you want an extra video on my counselling journey, then I'll be very happy to do one. The next condition is asthma. I had asthma since I was about 16 years old. I started working in a nursery with children, not a plant nursery, a child's nursery. Started my training when I left school, and working with children is a very germy environment, and I had over the winter months repeated chest infections, one year I think I went to my doctor 7-8 times over the course of autumn and winter with chest problems, and she sent me to see a consultant and they diagnosed me as having asthma. Now it doesn't affect me very much at all, if I'm honest, my asthma. The only time it affects me is if I've had a general anaesthetic and they've used a drug called rock to put you to sleep. So I tend to ask them not to use rocuronium. I tend to ask them to use Sux and fentanyl. And also, if I have a chest infection or a cold, then I notice that I get more coughy, more chesty. As I'm getting older, I've noticed that certain household items are affecting my asthma. So certain antibacterial sprays for cleaning, certain body sprays and perfume affect my asthma. Certain types of dust in the house, and the dust coming up if I'm outside and someone's been digging, or you know, that kind of dust does affect my asthma, and I do find myself coughing and feeling slightly short of breath. But that is, I manage my symptoms myself. I have inhalers and I look after that part of me very, very well. All parts of me, but that part of me is very well controlled. And I do not buy the antibacterial sprays that affect me. I don't use the perfume that affects me and things like that. So I know how to limit the symptoms. The next one, when I was diagnosed with this, I thought I was dying. I felt so unwell, and it turns out that my mum's gran actually had this condition the same as me, so bad that she couldn't get out of bed like I couldn't, and that's vertigo. When I was first diagnosed with vertigo, I couldn't get out of bed. The room was spinning. I couldn't open my eyes. Even talking about it now, I can remember how intense the feeling was. I felt like the wallpaper was moving. It was the most horrific. I felt like I'd been on a roller coaster and I was still on there. It was awful. And that went on for months. It went on for months and months and months, and I was, what is wrong with me? You know, it would come and it would go. Certain things like a car journey would set it off, and it would make me feel so unwell. And I remember it was one Saturday evening, it came on so bad that I just went to the emergency doctors, and he was like, you've got a really, really bad case of vertigo. And he gave me these little tiny white tablets, and ever since then, as soon as I start to feel the symptoms of a vertigo attack, I take these tablets, and as soon as I've taken these tablets, within half an hour, symptoms are gone and I feel back to normal again. And it just takes you moving your head too quickly or moving it a certain way because of the fluid. It's an imbalance of the fluid in your ear, and that's what starts it off. But my great gran had it same as me, so bad, and back then of course there wasn't the medication, and I just feel so bad for her because I know how bad I felt. So I'm very, very privileged and lucky to have that little tiny white tablet that helps me so much. And it is an awful condition to have, and that I avoid heights, I avoid I couldn't go on a roller coaster with other problems anyway, but roller coaster, anything that's going to start, you know, I'd be careful about how quickly I move my head and things like that, because I feel like that is going to contribute, and it really does. You just need to lie down, close your eyes and not move for a little while until that symptoms has gone, because it is really bad. This one's going to be a bit shorter than the other video, and the last one that I want to talk about is a symptom that again can be quite embarrassing for people to talk about. I don't really get embarrassed because I've grown up in a house where my mum has bowel problems. My mum has Crohn's disease, so it's quite normal for me, and that is irritable bowel syndrome. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome at the age of 13, so I was very young, and I had a lot of problems in that area when I was growing up. And they did test me for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, because my mum has areas of both wrong with my mum. And I'm very lucky that I just have a severe case of IBS, and it is pretty well controlled now. I do have to rely on tablets sometimes to relieve the muscle spasms, and to relieve some other symptoms that I get, but mostly it is well controlled. But it's one of those things that people are embarrassed to talk about. I don't understand why, to be honest. We all go to the toilet. It's just one of those things we do. Even the Queen, it's like blowing your nose. Everyone has to do it. So there you go. But yeah, I've had that kind of issue since I was a young teenager, and now it is better controlled than what it was, but that is because I'm careful about my diet. I find that dairy really sets my IBS off, so I avoid, especially cow's dairy. I now drink coconut milk, and I am really, or goat's milk if I can't get hold of coconut milk, and I am really careful about the amount of other dairy that I consume. And that for me was a big trigger. For some people it'd be gluten, it'd be wheat, it will be dairy, it will be, I don't know, spicy foods, whatever it is. You got to find that thing that really sets you off. Stress, it can be stress, it can be hormones. There is a lot that can set off IBS, and you just have to find that one little thing that really sets you off and try and eliminate that from your life as much as possible. But if it is a lifestyle factor like stress, or it's very difficult, and I do find that it is worse if I am under stress, so I just try to be as calm as I can and think that everything will work itself out. So that's it at the moment. I think that's enough. It's enough for me anyway. So if you've got any questions, or you don't feel that I've got enough detail about any of these, or you want another video about anything in specific, just let me know in the comments down below. My Instagram is always linked in, or listed in the description. And if you could like, subscribe and share and stay around a while, then that would be great. And I really appreciate your time watching these videos. It means a great deal to me. Thank you very, very much. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again next time. Bye.